guys, today I'm going to tell you about my top 5 fashion-related books. When I lived in Atlanta, I was part of a fashion book club that my friends put together. It was called Lux Lit, and each month we read a fashion-related book and then got together to discuss the book. And it was always so much fun. It was a girls' night whenever we did that. We would have dinner and discuss the book, and also and you know how book club goes, you end up discussing things other than the book, but it was always just so much fun, and I loved the books that we read, and it was always a fun evening, and so that's something I really miss doing. I still read fashion-related books. That's one of my favorite topics, so I thought that I would show you my top 5 fashion-related books. If you've read some of these, let me know in the comment section what you thought of them, and if you haven't read them, maybe it might give you an idea for your next book to read. So 4 of the books I have on my Kindle, and then 1 of the books I have as the actual physical book. But first I will show you one of my Kindle books. The first book is The Knockoff by Lucy Sykes and Joe Piazza. I did not read The Knockoff in book club. I read that on my own. I read this book within a weekend, and that is rare for me. I usually take a lot longer to read a book, but this book I could not put down. It was so much fun to read. This is the story of Imogen Tate, who is the editor-in-chief of a magazine called Glossy. Glossy is a magazine very similar to Vogue. Imogen was on medical leave for 6 months, and she comes back to her magazine, and it's absolutely unrecognizable to her. Her former assistant went away to business school, to Harvard Business School for a couple of years, and now she is back, and she has been hired to convert the magazine into an app. So they want to take the magazine digital, turn it into an app, and she is not only hired to do that, but she's trying to take everything over. She's trying to take over Imogen's job. She's trying to take over the whole magazine. And this is all about Imogen versus Eve and how Imogen handles that. It's such a great story. I could not put it down. It is absolutely awesome. The writing is fun. It's a fun read, and I highly, highly recommend the book. That's why I'm telling you about it first. Absolutely loved The Knockoff. The next book is one that I read in book club. This is The Woman I Wanted to Be by Diane von Furstenberg. It was a lot of fun because not only did we read the book, we had our meeting at the Diane von Furstenberg store in Atlanta, and that was really fun. My friend who was in charge of hosting the meeting that month called the store and arranged for us to be able to have our meeting there, and it was just so much fun because we discussed the book, we had some little snacks, and we were also able to do a little shopping, so that was really fun. So The Woman I Wanted to Be by Diane von Furstenberg is an autobiography. She talks about her childhood in Brussels and her family and her life and how she got to where she is today. There's some history in this book. There are, words of wisdom, there's advice, there's career advice. She talks about her personal life, she talks about her professional life, and she's got an amazing, interesting life. So it's a really interesting read, very engaging, and I just really enjoyed the book. The next book is called Hijacking the Runway: How Celebrities Are Stealing the Spotlight from Fashion Designers by Teri Agins. I read this book in book club, and having grown up in the fashion industry, I found it very interesting, and I also have a penchant for pop culture, so that was fun as well. This book talks about, like it said, how celebrities are influencing the fashion industry. So it's not just the designers and the Vogues of the world who are shaping the fashion industry now, it's also celebrities. It's not just the celebrities wearing the clothes. Yes, they are photographed in a lot of the designers' clothes, and that definitely helps the designers sell merchandise, but it's also celebrities coming up with their own lines of merchandise. It talks about how Jessica Simpson came out with her line of shoes and also clothing and accessories. It talks about how Jennifer Lopez came out with her fragrance, and she's got a whole empire of merchandise now, but it does talk about Glow, her first fragrance. It talks about Sarah Jessica Parker, Sean Combs. It talks about Michael Kors, how even though he's a designer, he's become a celebrity in his own right. It also talks about how some celebrities have become bona fide designers, like the Olsen twins and Victoria Beckham. They were once actresses, and Victoria Beckham was a singer, but now they are full-fledged designers. and so it talks about that. It talks about Tommy Hilfiger. It talks about Tory Burch. I think that was just such a really fun book to read, very interesting. It's nonfiction, so if you like nonfiction and pop culture, you will probably like this book. The next book on my list is called Summer at Tiffany by Marjorie Hart. I read this in Fashion Book Club. It's a memoir about the author Marjorie and her best friend Marty, and how when they attended the University of Iowa back in the 40s, they spent the summer of 1945 in New York. So you've got these two college girls from Iowa spending the summer in New York City. How exciting is that? They both got jobs at Tiffany's, and they were the first female floor pages at Tiffany's. Isn't that cool? And it talks all about their experience living in New York for the summer, finding a place to live, finding a place to work, and their job. They talk about their job at Tiffany's, and it was really, glamorous because they got to see celebrities, and it talks about the boys they met, and it's in the summer of 1945, so it's about the end of World War II, and there's some history in there as well, and so it's a really fun book, and it's just so fun to see New York City through the eyes of these two Iowa college girls. It's just a really fun read, and I also really like the 40s. I love the styles of the 40s, so this book takes you back to that time, and I think it would have been really cool to see New York City in the 40s. So definitely a fun read. The fifth book on my list is a physical book. It's not on my Kindle. It's called What Would Jackie Do by Shelly Branch and Sue Callaway. I didn't read this book in book club. This is a book I've read on my own. This book is about Jackie Kennedy Onassis and how she would have handled life situations. The authors talked to experts, people who knew Jackie, people who were friends with Jackie, and came to the conclusions that we read in this book, and we learn Jackie's philosophies on things like home decorating, social life, career, dating, parenting, entertaining, just all different aspects of life that are really fun to see what Jackie did. Now, do I follow all of the advice in this book? No, but it's definitely fun to read and just to know what Jackie would have done in different situations. I've been a Jackie fan pretty much my whole life. She's a fashion icon. She is very classy and poised, and definitely a good role model. So even though maybe I follow some of the advice in the book, maybe I don't, but in any case, I think it's just a really fun read, and it might help you through a certain situation if you're not sure what to do. They also have, along the same lines of this book, there's also What Would Audrey Do and What Would Grace Do. The What Would Audrey Do is Audrey Hepburn, and What Would Grace Do is Grace Kelly. Let me know in the comments section if you've read any of these books, and if so, what did you think of the book? Be sure and subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you all next time. Bye!